All right, welcome to another edition of Carnivore Bites. I'm your host, Jeff Sherman, along with Dr. Eric Lopkin. A busy week, a lot not hanging in the balance, and a lot of dynamics going on, Dr. Lopkin. First thing I think we'll talk about, I'll throw it out to you, is the Iowa caucuses. Just a series of meltdowns by the Democratic Party, starting with impeachment, now the Iowa caucuses, and then the State of the Union. But let's just focus on the Iowa caucuses. First of all, the technical glitches didn't speak well, did it?
No, not at all. And the fact of the matter is, it was completely avoidable and completely predictable. Precinct captains reported problems as early as Monday morning. So they had all day to come up with a backup plan, which, quite frankly, they should have had in the first place, and they failed to do so. On top of that, they rolled out a brand new app to collect the data, transmit it, and according to a lot of those same precinct captains and a lot of the people that worked at the Iowa State Committee, they never bothered to actually test it completely. So they went in with an untested piece of software, and surprise, surprise, everything blew up in their face.
Yes, funny, this is an aside. I watch Tucker Carlson. I think he's really very intellectual, very insightful, very engaging. I like his show. And he always talks about the best and the brightest, not in those words, but basically the elitist. Best schools, best, pedigree, but they always screw it up. And I didn't know, do you know who was running that? I know it was a Hillary-affiliated situation. Robbie Mook. And
Yeah,
supposedly, Harvard grad, whatever, Ivy League, all that. The same person that you could have someone from a community college. What he ran the Hillary Clinton campaign, someone I wouldn't hire to be a cashier at Walmart. And let me just go on for one more second. Most of the time, even Madeline, the wife of Carvel, she kind of screwed up the George H.W. Bush campaign, but still had an afterlife,
Right.
Robbie Mook has no after. He screwed up something that I don't even understand how she should have won. Let's just be honest. And he screwed it up, and now he's running this. I'm surprised he even has a job, and they entrusted him to do anything.
Well, the app was built by a company called Shadow Inc. Okay, now first of all, if you're going to name a company, do you really want something as ominous as Shadow Inc.?
Probably not for a governmental type of scenario.
Right.
No.
The company was founded, and almost all of their employees are former employees from the Clinton and Obama campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, this company was put together for the sole purpose of capitalizing on their political contacts.
Yes. And the Obama campaign, well run. Hillary's, I wouldn't hire any of them for anything. The most incompetent people ever. So they screwed it up. I think it added to a lot of frustration. We'll talk about a little bit later with Nancy Pelosi and others later on the following day. But let's look at the results. I think they're interesting. Mayor Pete comes out of there with a whole new breath of life. A breath of death is Biden. Your comments?
Yeah, Joe Biden came in a distant fourth. So even
he might
if
be finished.
It's possible. He's been trying to sort of say, well, we never expected much from Iowa. He's been focusing on other states. But the fact of the matter is, over the last 2 days, his campaign has been in crisis mode, trying to convince their donors that he is still viable. His donors are headed for the door.
He is in crisis mode. He might pretend that they're not. If he does not win New Hampshire, I say, I don't know how many rounds he's had. Round 5 over. He's been running since 1988. I don't know how many that is. But 2% Joe is 2% Joe. If he doesn't pull out New Hampshire, what do you think, Dr. Lopkin?
If he doesn't have a strong showing in New Hampshire, his donors are going to walk, and he will have to fold up his tent not too much after that, because without the money, he does not have a campaign.
Agreed. I think actually the impeachment hearing actually hurt him more than it did Trump because of the whole corruption type of scenario that he's now associated with, rightfully or wrongfully so. And I think another loser is Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, she was in the top 3, but no mojo.
But not as strong as she expected to be. She did not come out of it well.
She's wounded.
The fact of the matter is the top 3 were expected to be Biden, Sanders, and Warren.
Yes.
Buttigieg completely upended that. And even Amy Klobuchar did better than anybody expected her to do.
I think the 2 big winners are her and Mayor Pete. I
think
Mayor Pete is a vile. I don't agree with his philosophy or political ideology, but he both of them are actually very good foils against Trump. They would have a chance. I don't think anyone else would.
I don't think Buttigieg has a chance against Trump. I think Amy can, but the big winner from the Iowa caucus is Michael Bloomberg. He's the one that avoided the caucus altogether, didn't even bother going to Iowa, wasn't on the ballot there. And quite frankly, any of the moderates that have been backing Biden, now that they've seen he's self-destructing, they're all looking at, well, we can't support Bernie or Warren. We're going to turn our sights to supporting Bloomberg.
I think you're actually 100% spot on. I think he is the big winner. Klobuchar is a winner too, and obviously Mayor Pete. 2 big losers are Warren and Biden. Moving on to the State of the Union, perplexing at best. Again, the Democrats have not had a good week or 2, starting with impeachment, the delay in impeachment, the Iowa caucuses, and then the State of the Union was a wholesale disaster. Trump had a very good show. It was a show, a measured speech, delivered well, and the Democrats with the whole suffragette thing, with the wearing white. Okay, that's 3 years old. It's lost all its effect. You look ridiculous. They didn't applaud things like, they applauded some things, but other things they did not were just obvious. That's not that big of a deal. Nancy Pelosi having a meltdown is a big issue. I don't know if she's completely in control. I never agreed with her politics. I didn't think she was a Mensa candidate, but I thought she had amazing political instincts. And I cannot believe she did what she did.
Well,
she looked completely unhinged.
Let's face it, Nancy Pelosi is having a terrible week. Starts Sunday with her 49ers losing the Super Bowl. Monday, you have the Democratic caucus completely melt down. Tuesday, you have the State of the Union, and you have the Gallup poll come out stating that Trump is at his highest job approval rating yet, with his approval rating on the economy at 62%.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That deserves a little more.
And then,
go ahead.
I'm just going through her week. And then Wednesday, today, Trump is scheduled to be acquitted on impeachment charges. So she's having a really rough week. And clearly she did not take it well last night. As she's ripping up the speech, she's basically showing what the major problem with the Democratic Party is right now. And it's that instead of doing anything constructive, they've spent the last several years throwing a hissy fit.
Yes, it's a hissy fit, but I think it's deeper than that, Dr. Lopkin. I think they can't get over the fact that all the deep state can't get over the fact that Trump won, but they really can't. They cannot believe ignorant Walmart shoppers elected Trump. They can't also get over the fact that his numbers not just his poll numbers, but the economic numbers, the accomplishments, in spite of everything, are so powerful. It points to their failures. And he was I was a little surprised. I haven't really seen that before. He was very, very critical of the previous, which would be Obama's administration. He called that out 3 or 4 times. That is Donald Trump. Nancy Pelosi ripping up the State of the Union did not serve her well. And I think she was freaked out about all the above, which she said, especially her complete failure with impeachment. I think she never wanted it. It was against her instincts. It has imploded. And I think, you talk about his poll numbers, they're about 50%. You mentioned the economic numbers are even better. There's not just pie in the sky thinking, wishful thinking. I think his actual poll numbers, and you could easily add 5 points. What do you think, Dr. Lopkin?
Yeah, I mean, the poll numbers tend to skew left, simply because.
Yeah, but not even just because of the scientific survey. I'm thinking people are apprehensive to say, yes, I like Trump. That's just a fact.
Oh, I'm sure there's a part of that. I think there's a bigger factor is that because Trump supporters don't trust these pollsters, don't trust the media, they don't answer the polls. So the fact that he's at 50%, it's probably at least 5% higher. Again, the approval rating on the job he's doing with the economy is at 62%. Nancy Pelosi ripping up the speech in front of the cameras. She's throwing a temper tantrum because Trump has shown that everything her party did for the 8 years previous to him being in office was useless.
Not even useless, it was detrimental. I also think that the swing voters seeing that ruins their any credibility the Democrats have, or lessens it, not ruins it, lessens it. As who are these people ripping up a State of the Union document? I mean, that's just unheard of.
Well, look at the bigger picture, though. Over the past 48 hours, voters have seen the Democratic caucus completely mishandled. A hissy fit on national television tearing up the speech. Even the most diehard Democrat has got to be looking at this going, what has happened to my party?
Oh, well, even Carvel,
James Carville.
Yep, and others. Everyone, Trump, deservingly so, gets a lot of criticism for many things he deserves, tweets and whatever, acting on president. But the Democratic Party, it's a civil war. It's in complete chaos. It's in chaos.
It's in complete chaos. I mean, I have said both on this podcast and on the air on the radio show that, I mean, Trump is essentially a buffoon. He does, and again, the best quote I ever heard about him was, he does the right thing in the worst possible way. So, I mean, yes, does he deserve criticism? Absolutely. But the meltdown that the Democrats have had, and now you have to wonder what's really going on, because if you're paying attention to politics, you know that campaign finance reports were filed recently and now they're public. Crain's New York took a look at the campaign finance report for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And of course, it turns out, now everybody has talked about the fact that she is a tremendous fundraiser. And it's been a thorn in the side of the Democratic Party that she has not been contributing to the DNC. But when they looked at her filings, it turns out that virtually none of her fundraising or her funds that have come in are actually from her district. So the people who need to elect these Democrats, they're not